The abduction of Travis Walton, an unexpected journey. On a cold autumn night in 1975, deep in the remote forests of the Apache Mountains, Arizona, a group of forestry workers was working late into the evening. Their crew consisted of 6 men, each of them diligently cutting timber, carefully wrapping up the final tasks of the day. The atmosphere around them was eerily quiet, and no one could have predicted that this night would become one of the most bizarre chapters of their lives. Travis Walton, one of the workers, was the most notable, known for his outgoing personality and bravery. He was the kind of guy everyone in the crew liked, and on this particular evening, as always, he was the last one to leave. They piled into their truck and prepared to head back home. But as they drove through a remote stretch of forest, something strange happened. Travis, sitting in the passenger seat, suddenly noticed a bright light shining down from the sky. At first, he thought it might be the headlights of an airplane or a helicopter flying low. However, this light didn't resemble anything he had ever seen before. It hovered in the air, moving in a way that no conventional flying object would. His eyes widened, and his heart began to race as he realized something far more unusual was happening. Without warning, he pointed it out to his friends. "Stop the truck," he urged. He stepped out and immediately felt a compulsion to move closer. The light grew brighter, as though it were calling him. "Travis, don't go near it," one of his friends, Steve, shouted from the truck, but Travis was already too far gone. It was as though he was being pulled toward it, entranced by the strange force. Within moments, as Travis moved closer to the object, a powerful beam of light shot down, striking him directly. In an instant, he felt as if his entire body was lifted off the ground. He couldn't scream. The world around him went black. The mysterious disappearance. When the rest of the group rushed out of the truck, frantically calling his name, they saw nothing but empty space where Travis had been. Panic set in as they searched the area, but there was no sign of him. One of the men, Mike Rogers, attempted to contact authorities, but the radio was dead. They couldn't understand what had happened, and a chilling fear took over them. They rushed to a nearby police station and reported the incident. Despite immediate efforts from law enforcement and search teams, no trace of Travis could be found in the surrounding area. The search continued throughout the night, but all efforts were in vain. By morning, news of the bizarre incident had spread, and the question, "Where is Travis Walton?" echoed through the community. 5 days passed with no word from Travis. His family and friends were devastated, and hope began to fade. Then, in an eerie twist, something strange occurred. A trucker traveling along a lonely highway spotted a figure staggering out of the darkness. It was Travis Walton. He looked no different than a man who had returned from a long, grueling journey. His body was frail and dirty, his eyes dull and panicked. When he was taken to the hospital, doctors confirmed that he had no visible injuries, but was severely dehydrated and exhausted. Travis couldn't remember exactly what had happened, but the vague images of a strange, otherworldly place filled his mind. Images of pale creatures with large black eyes, and a spacecraft that hovered high above. He was told of being taken aboard a spacecraft, a cold and sterile environment where he felt as though he were trapped. The creatures didn't speak, but only watched him with their unnerving gaze. He felt as though he was being experimented on, but could not explain exactly what they had done. The next thing he knew, he was inexplicably thrown back to Earth, left on the side of the road miles away from where he had disappeared. The mysterious investigation. Despite Travis's detailed recollection of the events, no one truly believed his story. Law enforcement and investigators initially thought he might have suffered from a psychological shock after an accident or some traumatic event. However, the rest of the crew stood by their friend's story, adamant that they had seen the UFO and witnessed Travis's strange disappearance. The investigation continued for days, with no physical evidence to confirm what happened. But the witnesses, Travis's friends, stayed consistent in their accounts. Despite the lack of tangible proof, there was one peculiar thing. Travis had vanished for 5 full days, with no trace left behind. The only clue was his strange physical state when he returned, and the inexplicable events described by those who had been with him. The strange memories and fuzzy recollections. Travis Walton could never fully recall everything from those 5 missing days. He only remembered hazy images of the UFO, of the creatures, and of a horrible, pounding headache each time he experienced what he described as experiments. Over time, his memory seemed to grow more fragmented, each attempt to recall the events bringing up a new detail, but always leaving the core experiences incomplete. At times, he would feel a strange connection to the beings, an unspoken communication that transcended language, a feeling that they were trying to convey something through their eyes and presence. The more he tried to remember, the more elusive the full story became. Some nights, the memories would return with more clarity, but other times, the images seemed to blur into nothingness, as if there was something deliberately being kept from him. The ongoing mystery. Despite the passage of time, Travis Walton's story remains one of the most bizarre and controversial UFO cases ever recorded. While many skeptics dismissed his claims as either a hoax or the product of a traumatic event, there were always those who believed he had experienced something beyond human understanding. Through numerous interviews, books, and media appearances, Travis continued to share his story, hoping to bring attention to what he experienced. He recounted every detail, from the strange craft he saw to the aliens who seemed so detached, yet somehow aware of his every movement. To this day, the question remains, was Travis Walton truly abducted by extraterrestrials, or was his mind merely a canvas for a deeply psychological trauma? No conclusive evidence has ever emerged to prove or disprove his story, leaving the world to speculate about the true nature of his disappearance. In 1993, the film Fire in the Sky was released, based on Travis Walton's account, further fueling interest and mystery surrounding the case. It remains a piece of popular culture, a story that no one can forget, no matter how much they may wish to. The case of Travis Walton's abduction continues to captivate the imaginations of UFO enthusiasts and skeptics alike. And while the mystery may never be solved, the memory of that strange night in 1975 and the 5 days that followed endures as one of the most perplexing and enigmatic UFO stories in modern history.